with just a few days to go until AEW versus New Japan Forbidden Door. They saw there were only 6 matches on the card, and Tony Khan said, well, we've got all these people from New Japan, we've got all these people that I've signed, we need to do something. Well, as Stephen Colbert once said, as Phil Ken Seven in Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, everybody get in here. My fucking goodness, they just had a whole bunch of people out on this show. Anything to sell this pay-per-view. But before we talk about that, we gotta talk about this show. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But literally, everybody get in here. My fucking goodness. Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. What a show that was. It was really goddamn weird. And some parts of this show were weird. Some parts of it were good. Other parts of it were like, okay, I don't really know why this is happening, but whatever. They were really just throwing everything at the goddamn wall. They've had a bunch of injury bugs bite their talents, and they're not going to fucking let go. CM Punk is out. Bryan Danielson is out. Various others are out. There was one shocking debut, and boy, that sent the goddamn roof off the joint. But yeah, let me know what you guys had to say about this one. And are you going to be ordering AEW versus New Japan Forbidden Door? They're going to make it an annual thing, so hopefully next time around they can have less injuries and they can have maybe a more cohesive narrative, more cohesive thing to it. I mean, I understand after AEW Double or Nothing and with the upcoming New Japan G1 Climax 32 tournament, they could only do so much, and it is, almost asking too much for people to pay another $50 for a pay-per-view that is just like not just a month after AEW Double or Nothing. But then again, you know what? It's certainly going to be interesting. They obviously are putting a lot of effort into selling this, and there is one particular title match that will absolutely blow the roof off the joint. And then there's one that they threw that they said, well, fuck it. We're going to send these 4 towns out. We're going to do some great stuff. But anyway, nevertheless, go home Dynamite for Forbidden Door. Here's Shivani to interview Bryan Danielson. I will say this much. There was a lot of talking on this show. I mean, a lot of talking. That being said, I don't blame them necessarily. Sometimes you have to have a talk-heavy edition, especially a sell a pay-per-view. What is his future? Well, he says, it's a great week to be a pro wrestling fan. The 2 best wrestling companies in the world are going to be fighting for brand supremacy. And he puts over Forbidden Door, Blood and Guts. He wanted to be part of that. Also, face Zack Sabre Jr. He's got good news and bad news. The bad news is he will not be medically cleared, but his mind is 100% working. This isn't like an injury that, took him out before. He broke his neck. He's, detached his retina. He's beat his body to shit. He's beat his brain to shit. He will be healthy. He will be back soon. That's comforting. That's very, very comforting, because when I heard injury and, he's going to be out for a bit, I was there for his initial retirement in Seattle in February 2016, and it was sad as fuck, and it was a worry that he was never going to be able to come back, and thank God he was able to come back healthy, and he was able to just continue to fight and have a hell of a goddamn, second part of his career. The good news is, though, his, brain at full capacity, all that and everything, that he will come back, and how Eddie called him, a judgmental prick, and yes, he is, because he wants the best, and he's managed to find the one guy that he trusts, the one guy that is such a tremendous technical wrestler that he can take on Zack Sabre Jr., and that, well, you'll be astonished by what he does in AEW. If it's not Cesaro, I don't know what the fuck we're doing here. It's almost got to be Cesaro, because we've seen Jonathan Gresham wrestle. Don't get me wrong, Jonathan Gresham versus Zack Sabre Jr., sign me up. That will be a technical masterpiece. It's got to be fucking Cesaro. It's almost got to be Cesaro. Unless they found a way to de-age Bret Hart and bring back 1993, 1995 Bret Hart. He does the who chant. Who. Well, I came out of the bad guy tunnel, so I'm not going to tell you. God, I missed heel Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson. Apologies. Man, it's going to take forever to get the whole Daniel Bryan thing out of my head, even though he was Bryan Danielson for years and years before he went to WWE. But, 2 names, 2 halves of a coin. Nevertheless, Danielson basically says, well, you're just going to have to wait to find out. Zack Sabre Jr. comes out and confronts him, just stares at him on the stage. Please give me that match. Give me that match at Wrestle Kingdom. Please have Bryan Danielson go to Wrestle Kingdom and face off against Zack Sabre Jr. Moxley talks about Blood and Guts and facing Tanahashi and all this stuff, and it's a lot of language, or just a lot of words, basically. A lot of words said on this show. as opposed to a lot of words just, thrown at you on this show. They just took subtitles in full form and threw them at you. What am I on about? Who knows? Rocky Romero, Trent, and Orange Cassidy against Will Ospreay and Aussie Open. I don't know why one member of Aussie Open is dressed like an Egyptian pharaoh. I don't really understand. And yeah, we get it. Orange Cassidy does the lazy stuff and everything and the comedy and whatever. And I know some people like it. I don't. It's stale. It was stale to begin with. It's really stale now. Can he work? Sure. We've seen it. We've fucking seen it. It was what it was. The match wasn't bad. And eventually, Orange Cassidy gets the orange punch on one of the Aussie Open guys. 1, 2, 3. And then Jeff Cobb and the Great Okan show up. All hail the Great Okan for saving that woman and being a tremendous asset to society. Fuck that piece of shit to harass that woman and everything. Okan should have just held him and threw him down the goddamn train tracks. Nevertheless, here's FTR to a huge pop, and that's it. That's it. It was just a way to get everybody on the goddamn show. Hence again, everybody get in here. Lethal, Dutt, and Giant Gonzalez Jr. are backstage. Lethal either wants Joe to relinquish the championship or face him, the Ring of Honor TV championship. Shivani then interviews Christian Cage. Big boos and says that, well, the fans need to respect him, but he doesn't want to shout over them, but their opinions don't matter. Talks about wrestling Twitter being toxic. He's not wrong. People thinking that they know more than anybody in wrestling. Guilty of that too. As fired up as I get about professional wrestling, I should absolutely remember that I will never understand as much as anybody. Doesn't matter if you're working an indie show all the way up to the big companies. Doesn't matter. I'm just a fan. I'm just an outsider. Whether I've watched it for a number of years or not, doesn't matter whether I've watched for 3 months or 37 years. I've never been inside it. And he is right. No, they shouldn't talk about who he wants to face or who he's going to face. He's just going to collect, money and everything. And that's all he was there for. He talks about researching Jungle Boy after Jungle Boy eliminated him from the Casino Battle Royal. Believe me, I forgot that happened too. Mainly because a lot of wrestling has been watched the last few years. And again, 37 plus years watching wrestling. Sorry, some stuff kind of blends together. But he tried to come up with the best way to put a cohesive narrative towards this. And talk about, you need to have matches that people will talk about more than a week later. The type of matches that people name pay-per-views after. The TLC matches. And that's fair. That's fair. And he talked about riding the Jungle Boy train until the money ran dry. And the money ran dry, so Jungle Boy was beat up. They play footage of him calling or saying to his mother and sister, "You raised a piece of shit." And then I think, the mother wanted me to be his father. He wanted me to be. It's like, you have a father figure, but your father's dead and he'd be ashamed and disappointed in you. This is a tremendous promo by Christian Cage. It's just a shame that it's basically the same stuff that he does every time he turns heel. And since I've watched most of his career, I've seen this before. I'm not saying him and Jungle Boy won't have a good feud, but this really feels like it's about it for Christian Cage. I think that he will be pretty much done after this feud. Then he says, enjoy your early retirement at age 25 and stay gone. And then here's Luchasaurus and he's choking him. And he says, remember what happened to Marco? Remember what happened to Marco and all that? What happened to Marco? They got rid of him. They never should have fucking signed Marco Stunt in the first place. He was embarrassing to watch. But he says, you're like a son to me and everything. And he's trying to talk to the dim-witted guy that's dressed up like a dinosaur. And we need to talk in private. They're splitting up Jurassic Express. Are we going to get Luchasaurus without the mask? I've seen the guy without his mask, by the way. He wrestled at some indie shows before he signed with AEW. Big guy, impressive. I hope this works out. I don't know really how to feel about this. I'm like, okay, Christian was fired up here, but I don't know if this is really going to work out as well as they think. And then O'Reilly and the Bucks are backstage. The Bucks say they're the best tag team in the world. They aren't even the best tag team in their own company because FTR is there. They say it's going to be, because O'Reilly is medically clear, it's going to be Hikuleo, ELP, and the Bucks versus Sting, Darby, and some others at Forbidden Door. We don't know who that is yet. Malachi makes his entrance. He's a little Wendigo, and he's okay. He works all night and turns out the lights all day. I don't know why Penta has a shovel as well as a tombstone, not even a tombstone pizza. Malachi versus Penta, All-Atlantic qualifier. Penta hurts his back on a dive. Malachi works on it, and they do some moves, and I gotta be honest, I like both these guys. I met Penta. Penta's a nice guy. Something didn't click here. Maybe it's because I haven't cared about this feud to begin with, but eventually Malachi hits what the black mass, whatever the kick is that they're going to call. 1, 2, 3. He gets the victory, and then Pac shows up, and because he's in the four-way, he's already qualified. And then Miro's on the screen and says, all I wanted was my God, my gold, and my gorgeous wife. Now, I will redeem them all. I will take the... And, he talks about wanting to basically get the All-Atlantic Championship, and he is going to, destroy God. I don't know why he's going to destroy God. Maybe it's going to be like Gods of Egypt. Somebody should have destroyed that movie, because that movie's absolute shit. And there you go. See, if they would just have... This Miro is the type they could push. All that stuff with the arcade, anarchy, and everything is in the rearview mirror. It's a good thing that they are finally they've been letting Miro be Miro. This is the guy this is the guy they can make the world champion at some point. If his neck holds up and if they actually utilize him right, he could be a world champion. So Wardlow pre-tape, he wants the TNT Championship. That's pretty much it. He wants to invite Scorpio into Wardlow's world. Here's Adam Cole, baby, joining commentary. And we see Hangman Page taking on Silas Young. Yes, they resurrected Silas Young to come back into the fold, basically. They welcomed him to the fold, a.k.a. cue up the Filter song. Any Filter fans out there? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Silas Young, that man never even had to play Oregon Trail in school because he fucking lived it. When he was in school, they didn't have history. His social security number and Bobby Fish's social security number, they fought over the number one social security number. I understand that they both really remember the Alamo. In fact, they wanted to side with the British in the Revolutionary War. They're old is what I'm saying. And Hangman took on Silas Young. Cole's commentary, Cole just kind of sounds like a whiny bitch, in all honesty. And Adam Cole's a really good talker. It just, I don't know, just something about... He's getting to be with his friends, he's getting to be with his girlfriend, and do what he wants. And I can't fault him for that, but he just feels like another guy there. And I guess these guys used to have a Ring of Honor rivalry, which I didn't really watch that much Ring of Honor at that point, so I apologize. There was a moonsault. We go to break. Silas did show off a little bit, but got hit with the buckshot. 1, 2, 3. Cole cut the promo, but it's interrupted by Jay Whitetoe. And Jay says, I'm the catalyst of professional wrestling. Of course you are, Jay. Of course you are. And I won't face you, Cole, because you lost to him. You lost to Hangman twice. But Hangman, you want to know who I'm going to face? Well, it won't be you. And Hangman's like, fuck it. I'm tired of this Kiwi talking. I'm going to beat up him. And then Cole comes in, and then we get a 2-on-1. And it looks like Cole's going to hit Jay White with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But alas, he's like, no, hold him up. And he's about to. And then coin drop. It's Okada. Huge pop. I think the arena roof split. That crowd went nuts. Holy shit chance. Very appropriate for once. They didn't overuse the holy shit chance. JR actually had one good line here. Nobody better in the world than Okada. Because Okada is a true god of professional wrestling. Not Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's basically, he's not even close to being a god of professional wrestling. No matter what Don Groomer Callis has to say. But that being said, Okada gets a huge pop. We're going to get a 4-way at the pay-per-view, which will be interesting to see where they go with it. Now, I think Cole's going to almost have to take Cole or Page are going to have to take the pin. Because Okada's wife has a baby on the way, like pretty soon, I think. I think by August, possibly. Or maybe she had the kid already. I mean, I don't know. It's none of my business. But if she's going to have a kid soon, putting the title back on Okada so soon would be weird. But, stranger things have happened. Let's be perfectly honest. Okada, even at 50%, would be better than Jay White. But nevertheless, that was a big deal. Okada showing up. He's going to be at the pay-per-view. That will help boost the buy rates. Oh, I want to see what Okada can do. Okada is the type of guy you could add to a card. And it's like, if nobody knows anything about New Japan, if they've heard the name Okada, fine, I want to see what this guy does. Oh, he's that good? Let me plunk down my money. Backstage with Jade, Kara Hogan, and Stokely, fresh off of his shift, working at Munchkinland. Red Velvet is apparently hurt. I hope she's all right. I hope she starts braying herself trying to do moves, too. Apparently, they're looking for a new baddie. Fine, whatever. And Tony is told to cut the shit. Fortunately, Jade stopped talking, so they did. Shivani is with Statlander and Athena. Are they okay in the head? That's all I'm going to ask. Shafir took on Toni Storm. I have a question. Why is Nyla Rose teaming with Shafir? Answer to that, they've been teaming up on AEW Dark and Dark Elevation. Okay, that answers that. I have another question. How can Roderick Strong be so goddamn good and Marina Shafir be the literal opposite of, like, anything good in the ring? I tried to give her a fair chance. I tried to. But goddamn, she's not good. She is not good. She, like, her submission style isn't the worst in the world. It just doesn't click. And Nyla does do a senton at one point to Toni Storm while the referee's distracted. And then later we get a roll-up 1, 2, 3. Toni Storm gets the victory. This is awkward. We get a beatdown, but hello, Thunder Rosa coming down. But, you know, if they get... Okay, just wait 1 second. I'm going to finish up this thing. Thunder Rosa comes down. Tony, you know, they get the melee and everything. You know, the faces, you know, even off with the heels. Toni Storm takes the AEW Women's Championship, clocks Nyla Rose in the head. Thanks for coming, Nyla Rose. And then hands the title to Thunder Rosa since it's her championship. This is going to be a big match. This is going to be something that I really, really am excited to see. I'm not saying you can't feature both women's champions, but if they gave Thunder Rosa the amount of TV time they've given to Jade, don't you think Thunder Rosa's title reign might mean a little bit more? I know that she had some kind of illness or whatever shortly after Double or Nothing. Okay, these things happen. She seems to be all right. That's great. I'm just saying they could feature Thunder Rosa a little bit better, and it might actually make the title mean something. They featured Britt a whole lot. They didn't really feature Nyla all that much. I mean, then again, to be fair, the pandemic hit. But you can feature both. You can actually do both and not have some matches go on way too long, and you could actually feature your women's division a little bit more. Shore it up a bit with talent. I hate to say it, Marina may be trying, but she ain't doing very well. But Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm, I'm excited to see that match at the pay-per-view. I just wish they'd feature her more. Please don't end the championship reign so soon. I'll be doing my Forbidden Door predictions probably sometime after Rampage, because I have some feeling they're going to add a bunch more matches, because I think they're already up to 10 or 11 matches. Oh dear. So anyway, Sting and Darby are backstage. Darby dissolves into just shouting cliches and says, we're going to team up with Shingo and Hiromu. Okay, that's a bit just random, but alright. I'm all for that. Shingo just being thrown in there. It's like, Dragon, go do something. Okay. So anyway, Rampage is going to be Hook versus the DKC. It's going to be Andrade El Olio against Phoenix. We cut to a pre-tape on Phoenix talking, I think. Please have Alex translate when somebody, you know, is better off speaking a language and maybe the cable audience isn't that familiar with. When Alex can do both, that's why he's there. Serena and Mercedes are teaming up, and Cash Wheeler against Jeff Cobb. The Forbidden Door card rundown, where even though Excalibur stumbled, he just ran through there about 5 miles a minute. Jericho, let's hear it for Jericho Aniston, the Grand Wizard himself, with Sammy and Ty. And we go to break, and then we have Archer make his entrance. Tana makes his entrance to a pretty good pop. Tanahashi wrestling on American television. Wild. Wild thing. You make Milwaukee sing. Regal's on commentary. Moxahashi, as I'm calling him, took on Archer and Jericho Aniston. And look, Tanahashi is a legend, and Tanahashi may think that he has a lot of time left. He doesn't. He's got more time left than Jericho Aniston. Archer still has plenty of time left. Mox was the youngest guy in this match by a landslide. Because Tanahashi and Archer are close to, if not at their mid-40s. And Archer still moves incredibly well, especially for his size and the fact he had a pretty bad back injury. Jericho's totally fucking washed. It was really, really sad seeing Tanahashi kind of stumble around. He can't even run. Mox did make Jericho just practically crack up, doing like a, thing where he's putting it over his face, putting his arm over his face during a camera spot. That was kind of funny. Sammy, get you and your tongue out of here, is what JR said. I don't know why that was so funny, but it was. We get a melee, we get a paradigm shift and a high fly flow 1, 2, 3 on Archer. And then, while Mox and Tanahashi are facing off against each other and just like, oh, we're going to do this, or maybe this is where we're going to go eat afterwards, Suddenly Eddie Kingston attacks everybody. Literally everybody. Suzuki. Wheeler Yuta goes after Suzuki. God bless you, Wheeler. You want to die, apparently. And just everybody. Eddie Kingston, popcorn vendors, cotton candy vendors, everybody here. While Mox and Tanahashi are just laughing in the ring. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's fucking incredible. It's ridiculous. We will see you this weekend for the Royal Rumble. Everybody get in here. I'm excited for Forbidden Door, but I'm a little bit worried the pay-per-view is going to run just a little bit too long. Hopefully it doesn't. That being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.